Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, here's Jay. And doesn't Sean have a great radio voice? I think so. Me? Well, I certainly have a face for radio, but certainly not particularly the voice. It is April Fool's Day, so what better than to be watching or listening to our show? But I won't get into too much of that because we're not going to fool around. Well, maybe we will too much. But welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for said retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. We have a great guest today, John Moss with the Native American community, and we're here to tell you to absolutely meet your retirement needs, top your tank off so you can make it all the way. And boy, I'll tell you, topping your tank off costs a lot of money these days, and that's just not metaphorically, that's the whole thing, whether you're buying groceries or gas or whatever. And, oh, hello, Jackie. And as far as that's concerned, we just need to march on with it and remember that the future is now. And why? Because knowledge is power, and our phone number is 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. So give me a call. The website for this show and everything about retirement finance, including the HECM, is theeducatedretirement.com. www.theeducatedretirement.com. That's the same name as this show. And we also have a short and maybe funnier kind of address, URL, whatever, that'll bring you right here. And that is www.drhecm.com, drhecm.com. And once you're there, you'll see a whole lot of great articles and videos, because videos are like picture books, and I like books with pictures. How the HECM works, and a lot of other things about being retired, etc. A blog that covers a lot of things. And as long as you're there on KMET, you will see, well, there's a link halfway down the front page that shows watch shows live, which you can do right now. Just go to my website and you can just click on the link to the website, go about halfway down the front page, click on where it says watch live, and you will be, well, there's some instructions. You'll go to a little television icon. You'll click on that, and there I will be. But you'll also see a lot of shows from the past there if you want to catch up on those. And speaking of those shows, let's not forget Let Grandpa Speak, whose show is here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And it is the best way to start your weekend with a good and happy and loving mood. And he was nominated for 5 Emmys, won 3. And he is also a real master at barbecue ribs. And I am a real master at eating barbecue ribs. And don't forget the West Coast Business Review with Daryl McCants, who is a master at eating everything. And I'm sorry, just got off the phone with him. He's a funny guy. He's actually a repeat offender here on this show from time to time, and he's on every Wednesday at 4 p.m., and they always give a plug for this show, saying that I'm a part of his advisory board, along with Bill Morris of UCI, who also has been a guest on this show. And never forget Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show here on KMET, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m., And I'm on his show about once a month on Thursdays. He has Old People Day on Thursday, and I'm one of them old people, so there I am. So don't forget, knowledge is power. And again, we ask that same question. When does your home loan become an asset? And, sometimes we get into that a little more, sometimes a little less. But my day job, I better have a day job. The Loan Source. I am a loan officer at the Loan Source, and my NMLS number is 384565. And my Department of Real Estate number, although I do not sell real estate, but I like to stay on top of that. And which reminds me, I got to renew it like this afternoon or within the next week. 792630. And today is, other than April Fool's Day, it is National Fresh Celery Month. Now, whether that's fresh or not, it's still Fresh Celery Month. And there you go. There's some celery. And it's always good. And yes, take celery beyond peanut butter sticks and cocktails, although those things do sound good. You can try seasoned cream cheese, chicken salad, or hummus. Sliced celery with a light vinaigrette, grapes, and walnuts makes an excellent small salad. And dip them into goat cheese and chives red onions. And don't forget their leaves. They can be used in soups. So celery is healthy. It controls cholesterol, calms inflammation, lowers blood pressure, treats constipation. Oh, that's nice. Flushes out toxins, and has a lot of vitamin E, and aids in bone density. So instead of skipping celery at that appetizer platter, scoop up those green leafy spears. It is beneficial to eat 4 stalks or 1 cup of chopped celery a day. Do I eat that much?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. National Jazz Appreciation Day. Now you're talking. Because, I do collect records, and jazz is jazz and classical and, a lot of rock stuff. But still, I love jazz. And the history of jazz takes us through the Deep South. Actually, it starts in Africa in many cases. Through the Deep South, along back roads, and into big cities all across the U.S. and then the world. The Smithsonian Museum of American History founded Jazz Appreciation Month in 2001 to celebrate the culture, music, and heritage association with jazz. Oh, just to show you a big... See this? We picked this up at a used record store a couple of weeks ago in Upland when visiting Daryl McCants to have a cigar with him. And that's... little book comes with it. It's a fairly inexpensive, it's got pictures.
5 records in here.
5 records in there, I'm being told. Well, we don't need to see. But anyway, it goes way back. It starts with, first disc is some African drumming and that kind of thing, and it moves little by little up through Dixieland, etc. But this Jazz Appreciation Month is to encourage people of all ages to participate in studying the music, attending concerts, or to listen to jazz on radio, which you don't have too many choices anymore. And records, which I got about 8,000, 9,000 choices, or read books about jazz and more. Of course,
9,002.
9,002. Oh, yeah, this is another big band thing. And bought 2, a week doesn't go by that I don't buy some records, especially jazz records. So here is one called, this is Kenny Dorham, Matador. This is a very limited edition on Impex Records, which is a great label. I don't know, just showing them to you because today's Jazz Appreciation, and like I said, nary a week goes by without buying several jazz records, and that's just what happened today. So, national holidays for today, not for the month. National Sourdough Bread Day is April the 1st. As a part of the California Gold Rush, sourdough was the principal bread made in Northern California and is still a part of the culture in San Francisco today. No kidding. The bread was so common at that time, the word sourdough became a nickname for the gold prospectors. Never heard that before, but you know, it's such a pleasure to learn on this show here. So anyway, San Francisco sourdough is the most famous sourdough bread made in the United States today, probably the world. And the San Francisco variety has remained in continuous production since 1849, with some bakeries able to trace their sourdough starters back to California's Gold Rush period. I make a lot of bread at home. I don't have any old, well, other than me, there ain't that much old around here as far as starters, but I use biga, which, you know, I make every now and then for Italian type bread, and, you know, that's only good for a couple of weeks. Sourdough bread is a great side for your soup. Well, so is any other kind of bread. Stew or toasted with your morning cereal. Oh, yeah, I can imagine morning cereals served with sourdough toast. Sure, you get that. You always get that choice. So it's National Trombone Players Day, which kind of brings us back to a little bit of the jazz thing. And it's time to celebrate trombone players everywhere. And you know, I love listening to trombones, and they're just not as popular in the jazz idiom. Is that a word? I think it is. People call me idiom. No, that's idiot. That's right. Idiom. And, you know, some of the big band stuff, of course, absolutely uses that. But it seems to be taken over almost completely by saxophones, and I like both. Anyway, tell all your trombone friends how much you appreciate what they add to the music world. Well, if I had any, I would. It's said that the best-known jazz trombonist of all time, J.J. Johnson, who was one of the earliest musicians on the instrument to play in bebop style. Now, here's one of his more famous album covers. I like this cover a lot. I don't think I've ever seen that album. Here's a picture of him, which I hope you can see. I think it's close enough. JJ, he's like two of my names, and it's 3 J's in a row, J.J. Johnson. Here's another. Maybe that's why they don't play trombone so much, because when they slide the thing out, they hit the guy in front of them in the back of the head. But they do have valve trombones, you know, also. We do have a few here. Things are getting better all the time. That would be nice. There's a J.J. Johnson album. I got a bunch of them, but, you know, here's some of them. 4 trombones. You know. So this has J.J. Johnson, Kai Winding, which also a lot of us have heard of, Benny Green, and Willie Dennis. So there's another good. So you know what? I'd really like to listen to that, maybe even today. Bebop, of course, is a whole different style of jazz, and you don't need to get into that now. Those that know, and those that don't may want to find out. But seeing as this is Jazz Appreciation Month, we can give a shout out to J.J. Johnson, who was born in 1924 and decided to play the trombone at the age of 14. Bebop musician Dizzy Gillespie, you know, with the cheeks that go out the air, encouraged J.J. by saying, "I've always known that the trombone could be played differently, that somebody catch on one of these days, and man, you are elected." So from Dizzy Gillespie to J.J. Johnson. It's also National Ferret Day, which little animals. And this holiday is designed to raise awareness of ferrets. Are you aware of ferrets? Ferrets get a bad rap. I didn't know that. As sneaky, aggressive little creatures, but they actually make curious companions. They're highly intelligent animals and possess around the same intelligence as a dog or cat. I know there's dog lovers and cat lovers. Well, I'll keep my opinion to myself about what is smarter. Birds are smarter than all of those, and pigs, I think, are even smarter than those. But male ferrets are called hobs. Females are called Jills. Hob and Jill. Their offspring are called kits, and a family is called a business. Well, they have a lot in common with people then. With their razor-sharp teeth, they join the group of carnivores like us, like otters, badgers, weasels, and wolverines. Humans domesticated them over 2,000 years ago specifically for their hunting abilities to kill vermin that would otherwise grow out of control. An adult weighs about 5 pounds and eats small animals like mice, snakes, birds, and we don't like that. And they eat a lot, like some people I know. And how do they eat? They eat like that. And if I had teeth like that, I might be fat. Oh, I was. And if you look at, showing what it is on the screen when my billboard, that's still the old pictures of me as a fat guy. And here's another. Isn't that charming as whatever we want to say. And, there you go. So do you have a pet ferret, anybody?
No.
What do you think? This holiday was established in 2014 by the American Ferret Association. Didn't know there was such a thing. It's legal. Is it legal to have a ferret in all 50 states? No. It is legal in most except for California and Hawaii. However, in California, it's definitely legal to have a zebra as a pet. That's kind of like, you can have horses and things like that, but you may need to have special zoning. I don't know. Is there I guess they haven't gotten around to ferret zoning yet. Is it possible to get a special permit in California? Yeah, it is. So if you really, really, really want a ferret,
Zebra.
Oh, a zebra. Yeah, you can definitely get a zebra, and you just put it in your backyard. But I think it's time to get back down to earth. We're getting close to maybe break time, maybe not. We'll see, because our guest appears to be already here. But it's time for Let's Listen for Retro Rockets. There she is. There is NASA Nellie, and she's just got a few minutes to bring us up to date on today's UFO news. Take it away, NASA Nellie.
The Westall UFO Incident. Melbourne in Victoria, Australia is the country that is home of the kangaroo, koala bear, as well as hanging rock. The date, April 6, 1966, was about to be the most remarkable day for the lives of a particular group of Melbourne citizens. At about 11 a.m., over 200 students and teachers from Westall High School and nearby elementary school reported seeing a flying object that was silver gray in color, a saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue and twice the size of a family car. According to witnesses, the object flew over the school, hovered, and disappeared behind the trees, only to return approximately 20 minutes later. It climbed at high speeds and departed suddenly into the sky. Some accounts describe the object as being pursued by 5 aircraft. The head teacher called the local airport and military in order to see if there was anything that was meant to be in the sky. Within 40 minutes, military and police personnel poured into the area to contain the situation, as the students were pretty hysterical. In turn, they were forbidden to speak to the press. At one point, even a camera belonging to a teacher was confiscated. Of course, weather balloons were blamed by local authorities. Weather balloons do not move across the sky at the speeds mentioned, and they typically do not attract the attention of military planes. Would your camera be taken if you were taking pictures of just a weather balloon? Later, a retired Melbourne schoolteacher, Andrew Greenwood, made astonishing claims. He said, "I saw a craft, a mechanical object intelligently controlled, hovering over me." He said that afterwards he and others were able to sneak in and see what was going on with all the military trucks. "We saw it, a circular area like the trampled grass, and there were guards around it, and there were people in there with their equipment." Mr. Greenwood spoke to local news reporters about the incident, but became frightened about speaking out when a couple of weeks later, two men claiming to be government officials knocked on the door of his home. One was in plain clothes and the other one senior Air Force. They told him he was mistaken about what he saw. He said, "Absolutely, I was threatened. I was told that I should not say anything about it. When I tried to explain to them that they weren't there, I was, and I knew what I saw. Well, the first suggestion was that you'd be ill-advised to go on saying that because clearly you were drunk on duty and will have to be reported to the education department, and of course you will lose your job." What is completely fascinating are the testimonies of the other witnesses at the time, and even to this day. Film director James Fox, whose I Know What I Saw in 2009, and most recently the film Phenomenon, replays the actual footage of those testimonies of the children and teachers, along with their amazing drawings of the craft and its occupants, as well as current interviews of the same children, now adults, with their stories, all in unison and not wavering after all these years. Now what remains is a public tribute, the Grange Reserve UFO Park in Melbourne. Play equipment has been installed resembling the descriptions of the craft that visited in 1966. The interviews of those witnesses are interesting and a must-see. They, along with other UFO experiences, have been documented on specials, Netflix and History Channel, in books, and included in related conferences, as well as the films I mentioned by James Fox.
Thank you so much, NASA Nellie. I'm a little behind on the pictures. This is one of the areas where it had landed, and this is a sign.
That's a real photograph.
Yeah, those were some real photographs, all three of those last ones. This announces the area for the park. Here's another one on there. And here is a group of the students back then. And some of the equipment, park equipment. And let me, that's a little out of order there. Park equipment. Looks like that would be fun to go to. Yeah. And that kind of looks like the, from War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells' tripod things with a slide. That's pretty cool. And just one more thing showing some of the area there. So we are about ready at the bottom of the hour.